I started reading a book this past week. Brad Paisley was commenting on his song that he sang, "When I Get Where I'm Going." He said, instantly, when he first heard the song, it touched him deeply, like it's touched so many others over the years. And he knew that he had no choice, but he had to record the song. When I get where I'm going, no more tears there, no more sorrow, no more crying, no more parting. Thank you for coming. We've come to share in the loss of Adam. We've come to weep, to feel, to wonder, in anguish. And I do not come today with any glib answers. Let's face it, this is tough stuff. We're stunned. We're hurting. We don't understand. It might be difficult to believe, but the Bible actually says that it is good for us to be here today. Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 2. God says, "It is better to go to the house of mourning than to go to a house of feasting. For death is the destiny of every person." The living should take this to heart. In other words, God says that it's better to go to a funeral than to a party. Better to be at a cemetery than a football game. I think there's at least 3 reasons for this. First, this is a time to celebrate the life that God gave to Adam. We're sad, but we also want to remember Adam's unique person. And he was one of a kind. Looked around, and I know very few of you. The one thing that brings us together today is Adam. He's touched our lives pretty powerfully. So, also, this is a time for us to remember. It's a time for us to say goodbye to Adam. As hard as it is, this service is designed to help us begin the process of letting him go. Many years ago, we had a funeral service, and I took a small sparrow and placed him in the hands of a mother. I said, "This bird is not really yours. You're going to need to let him go." She opened her hand, and the bird perched on the side of her head. Turned its head and looked straight into her eyes for a full moment, and then took off and began to fly away. Spectacular moment that could not be choreographed. But letting go is tough. It's hard. Third, it is time for us to take stock of our own lives. Young people, it's hard to believe, but we are all going to die someday, unless we get caught up out of the world some other way. It's great for us to ask some tough questions of ourselves, questions like, am I ready to die? Where will I go when life is over? It comes right down to it. The service is more for us who are living than for Adam. Adam has already begun to receive his eternal reward. So we're going to remember today, we're going to remember Adam, we're going to say goodbye to him, and then we're going to reflect on our own lives. Some of you are searching for answers this afternoon, and I want you to know that it's okay to ask questions. It's natural to wonder why this had to happen. There's a story in the Bible that addresses some of the same things that most of us might be feeling today. It's found in the Gospel of John, chapter 11. Here we read of a funeral that involved hard questions, deep feelings, and budding hope. The deceased man there was named Lazarus. He came from a very close family. Among them, he had two sisters, Mary and Martha. And like Adam, he came from a good family and had a large group of friends. And one of his best friends was a guy by the name of Jesus. Jesus arrives 4 days after the death of his friend. And as he approaches the house full of people crying, both sisters run out to him at separate times, and both of them say the same thing: "Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died." I suspect that some of you may be having this particular if question as well. If only I had more time with him. If only I had been nicer. If only I had done this or that. These kinds of questions will abound right now. This is a little pastoral advice to you. You don't know me, but I'm a pastor of this church, and I've been pastoring for a long time. My wife says it was just immediately before God decided to create rocks. Don't blame yourself. It's unproductive. Nothing you could have done would have made